Alrighty, so here we are with session 3. As you can see, there's still a little healing going on. Most of the initial scabbing is pretty much gone. Some of the darker spots on here, we've still got a little peeling to go. There's a little bit of crusties on it and whatnot, but so far it's looking like it's healing up pretty good. I'm just gonna get the skin prepped up, shaved up, ready to go, and we can continue with the black. A couple of issues in the last session where we were doing the really dark black. I was finding it a little tough to get into some of the tighter corners and little points and stuff with the curve Magnum. So what I'm going to use now is a 11 Magnum single stack to get up into those points. It just makes it a little bit more precise at the corners, and that's really what I'm looking for at this point because we have some tight spots to get into. Alrighty, so guess there's nothing to do but to get up into it. Start out with some of this branching over here on this right hand side. Again, it's relatively dark, so we're basically going to just be using a lot of black to create some texture and whatnot. So like I said, I'm using on this one just to be able to, like in little tight sections like this, to be able to get into that point. I'm using a 11 Magnum single stack, using the number 12 sharp. I didn't go with the long taper because again we're packing a little bit of denseness with the black, so the long tapers give a much smaller dot at the point of penetration than just your standard number 12 sharp. And pick these particular needles up from Cam Supply. I like them both. I like the way that they set up their flat mags and their curved mags. Sometimes I actually go through a couple other companies for different needles according to what I need. Cam's needles don't have a whole lot of flex in comparison to some of the other companies that I go through. And so when I'm looking to pack really dense, rich color, sometimes I need that stability of not having quite as much flex. And obviously, every manufacturer is going to have their own way that they put the stuff out, and what I just do is I attempt to find the manufacturers that are putting out products that work well for the way that I tattoo. Everybody's style, everybody's approach, everybody's techniques are slightly different and kind of modified to work for them as an individual artist. And then it is up to you, once you've figured out what that style is and what your techniques are, is to find manufacturing companies and suppliers and whatnot that are gonna provide you with what you need to maximize what you do. I might come in here in the next piece, I go with their curve mag that has the long taper number 12 sharp in it, or occasionally, I don't use them often, but they do put out a nice bug pin series of needles as well that are, they put in super fine dots. I find for me it's a little tough to work those. It requires more layering, more time consumption, but for some things you really need that. What I'm really kind of obviously not into at this point, because we're still really early in the process, but once we make it to the color, the earth tones that are scattered throughout that painting right there are really what I'm trying to get at when we finally get into that portion of it. And so I got to lay the black foundation in really nice and ready for that, because with her complexion actually being Asian, it'll give us the opportunity to make it really natural and organic looking as you start to lay the colors in, if they're laid in right. It should blend right into her skin and not have that really harsh. I know a lot of times you look at a traditional Asian piece and like the style itself is actually meant to be sort of harsh, sort of wow in your face kind of, And I think what I kind of liked with this image when, we were discussing whether or not we should use it as a tattoo, was the fact that it is an extremely aggressively dark tattoo, but it's still really soft.
Oh.
Yeah, this part, this is that kind of stretching over on the rib cage thing.
That's what bothered me last time.
It can be different each time, like it really can. Drew Winter was working on my back piece, and it kind of stretched out over towards the rib cage. Like people kind of complain a lot about, oh, it's it's right over my spine, it's this and that. My spine wasn't really my issue. It was as it started to stretch out over on the sides and start cruising around to the edge of that rib cage. I was like, whoa, dude, what are you doing? And he's laughing at me. He's like, dude, shut up. Because, you know, obviously he knew I was a tattoo artist. And so then I'm expected to not feel the pain, apparently. According to him, it's not supposed to hurt me because I do it to other people. And I'm not allowed to, like, gripe and complain about it. And I tell you what, I'm a little punk when it comes to that. I don't do pain real well. So, I mean, it's not something that prevents me from getting tattooed, but is definitely something that prevents me from enjoying the process while it's happening. You know what I'm saying? Really like trying to get cool textures with a tattoo machine. You know, just something about that just the texture and variety of different forms and shapes. Especially as you get to a larger piece. I mean, you do it too in smaller ones, but a lot of times a smaller kind of self-contained tattoo is pretty, like, it's such a concise thing that you don't have the opportunity to do as many things as something that's covering this much area. So you got a machine that's hitting exactly like you want it to. Then, you know, you get your needles that do what you want them to do. Again, you know, these needles that I'm picking up from Cam, they have the right amount of flex for the way that I tattoo. They come out consistent. I don't really have to throw too many of them away, because, you know, you can buy a box of 50 needles from some companies and have to throw 5 or 6 of them away. Even though the rest of them are perfect, you know, those few that you end up throwing away over time, that gets to be annoying, or maybe you miss it because you didn't check them enough, and, you know, you get into the tattoo and you realize, hey, this ain't pushing that ink in the way that I want it to, and you check it out later and there's a hook or a barb on the end of the needle, or the solder joint really isn't sitting like you want it to. I don't really find that problem too often with their needles.
I can feel like him doing the branches, and it's fun because I can feel the forming. It's kind of like when I work with ceramics, like I can see it forming, and then, you know, it's like that's the same concept.
Works for me.
Ah.
What was that? Ah.
Well, that looks like we're at the first hour, so let's spray you down and see what we got.
Actually, I got 58 minutes and 19 seconds.
Yeah, so that's pretty close.
Yeah.
So yeah, just in continuing with the theme that we had up here with the texture on the branch, comes down and back through here. We worked a similar theme here. It's a little darker in this bottom section because I want to give it, you know, some decent contrast. Plus I want to pop some of these leaves forward. It's done over there, it's kind of subtle. On skin, I think I want that really rich contrast, so I'm trying to use darkness and density in the background to pop out the newer stuff.
The color of the leaves.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be, that's one of the reasons why I called up Cam and ordered the earth tone set from Intense, because it just looked to me like the colors were gonna really work with, you know, with the way that the painting went. And then secondarily, looking at your skin, its complexion, the way it's holding the pigment, I think it'll be a really good fit for that particular piece. And it gets a little messy sometimes when you're packing in some solid areas.
Ow, God, ow.
Man, your name's God now? I thought you were Ken.
Depends on who you ask. Most of them call me Satan, so I don't know.
Oh.
I'll take God for a little while, because some of the alternatives that I've been called recently. I think I'm gonna switch this over to my 7 real quick to get down that little tight space there. This is a little bit tight to be trying to squeeze up in there with an 11 mag, so now I'm back to a 7 mag single stack. Again, this is another grouping that I tend to like the way Cam Supply puts theirs together. Works pretty good for me. Since I'm over in this section before it gets too raw, I'm going to knock out some of the black in the leaves too. That way, you know, as we get into some later color, we've had time for it to heal it pretty good, because I'm going to have to layer back in it with spray it down again because we're starting to get a little bit rough to see again. Yeah, I mean, I left quite a bit more space around the edges in these leaves than what it is on the painting over there because I want to fade more brown out on that into a nice kind of tan cream color around the edges. Again, we're in skin, and her skin automatically has a certain pigmentation to it. So it's not like we're starting out on a blank white piece of paper that, you know, has that contrast to it. So just looking to make sure that you can make out what's going on as the piece starts to develop. It can get confusing when it's just line work and like the majority of the tattoo is shading. You know, you gotta pay attention to what you're doing. Sometimes I'm paying a little bit better attention than others, especially after you've been going at it for a while. Well, we're creeping up on our next break anyway. I just want to cut in around this leaf here. Spray it down, and I guess it'd be cigarette time, huh? So yeah, we're moving right along.
Oh my god, it burns!
Oh wow, stretch it out. All right, so we're gonna get back into it. We're gonna do a little short portion on this. We're just gonna try to even up the hours. We'll try to be at like maybe 7 hours or so of actual work being in before we finish this session, and make it a little easier for us to keep track of what's going on and whatever. Pretty good on a sit, you know. I'm just kind of going as long as she's going and you're going.
Okay, well this tape's at 0, so it's going to end probably in about 40 seconds. That one's still going.
So you sat longer than you thought you were going to be able to.
Me?
Yep. We pulled the branch down and around, filled in some of the leaves, went all the way down here. There's still a section over here, and the branch is going to pull off to each side, here and here. And that would basically take care of the majority of the real black, as far as in the tattoo itself, the picture part. The rest of the black is background shading, and you know, it kind of transitions from black to different shades of brown or whatever. But this didn't make for too bad a sit. I'm thinking we're at about maybe 7 hours and 15 minutes at this point. 7 hours, 15 minutes. That's not really too bad. I don't know why I'm doing that because I got to take photos of it.